please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so it is time for another redraft video. I've been doing one of these per month for a lot of months now, starting with the 2000 draft. And I guess this is month 7 because we are up to the 2007 NHL Draft. And I will be redrafting the top 10 picks from how they were to how they should have been for the 2007 NHL Draft. Now, before we begin, I just ask that you please subscribe if you are new to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, as that really helps the video and the channel a lot and is very much appreciated. But 2007 was actually a very good year for rookies again, and obviously there were certainly some mistakes made in the first top 10 picks, without a doubt. There were some picks that I think teams really wish that they could have back. However, this was one of the most difficult redrafts that I have done so far as trying to place where players should have been drafted, especially when you get towards that 7, 8, 9 area. There were a lot of candidates, and putting them in a proper order was pretty difficult. So obviously this is my opinion based on what order they should have been drafted in. But there's obviously you could make arguments for some guys definitely getting moved around a little bit, but a lot of good players, really good players, came out of this 2007 draft. So we might as well just get into it here. In 2007, the first pick in the draft belonged to the Chicago Blackhawks. And with that pick, they took right wing Patrick Kane. Now, Patrick Kane has gone on to play 973 games in the NHL, scoring 389 goals, 633 assists for 1,022 career points and a plus 69 rating. He already has over 1,000 career points. Only player from this draft year to hit 1,000, obviously, so far. Not even 1,000 games played yet. 3-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane was obviously 100% the right choice with that first overall pick. No one else comes close. And Chicago certainly got that one right, as he has gone on to become an absolute superstar and definitely one of the best 3 American-born players of all time. And I think by the end of his career, he's going to be the greatest American-born player to ever play in the NHL. Pick number 2 that year belonged to the Philadelphia Flyers. And with that pick, they took left wing James Van Riemsdyk. And Van Riemsdyk has gone on to play 741 NHL games, scoring 247 goals, 234 assists for 481 points and a minus 39 rating. Van Riemsdyk came into the league with Philly, went to Toronto, is now back with Philly, has put together a very good NHL career as kind of like a second-line goal scorer. Definitely a guy who can hit 30 goals in a season. Really, really good player, solid goal scorer, but not, I don't think, worthy of being the number 2 overall pick. I don't think that this was a bad pick by Philadelphia, as he certainly had a good career, but there were better players taken. The number 2 pick in the 2007 draft should have been Jamie Benn, who's a left wing, just like Van Riemsdyk, and originally went 129th overall to the Dallas Stars. Now, it's absolutely insane that Jamie Benn fell in the draft all the way to 129th, because he has played 814 NHL games, scoring 300 goals, 388 assists for 688 career points, and a plus 47 rating. He's the captain of the Dallas Stars. He's been in Dallas his entire career. He's really played an old school power forward type game. His offensive output has fallen off a little bit over the last few years, and certainly as he's gotten older. We've seen decline in Jamie Benn's game, but he was an elite player for a number of years with Dallas and a great power forward as well. He's physical. He can fight. He goes to the net. He's not afraid to get involved at all in the dirty areas, the physical play of the game. I think that makes him even more valuable because he brings that element to the lineup as well as the offense. Jamie Benn's had a tremendous career with Dallas. Obviously, over 800 games played, almost 700 career points, plus player. Really, really good. And obviously, he's dropped off a little bit the last couple of years, but that does not take away from the career that he has had. He should have gone number 2 overall. Number 3 overall in the 2007 draft, that pick belonged to the then Phoenix, now Arizona Coyotes, where they took forward Kyle Turris. And Kyle Turris has gone on to have a pretty good NHL career for a few different teams now. He's now with the Nashville Predators. He's played 726 games in the NHL, scoring 165 career goals, 251 career assists, for 416 points and a +9 rating. Turris has been a good player. There's no doubt about that. However, don't think he's lived up to being the number 3 overall pick, particularly in this draft where so many great players were taken. The number 3 pick should have been Jakub Voracek, right wing, who originally went 7th overall to the Columbus Blue Jackets. He should have gone at number 3 to Arizona. Jakub Voracek is one of the most underrated stars of the last decade in the NHL. People do not realize how good Jakub Voracek is. He has played 915 games in the NHL, scoring 207 goals, 488 assists for 695 career points and a -4 rating. Jakub Voracek has more career points than Jamie Benn, yet Jamie Benn gets talked about as a superstar player, and Jakub Voracek is almost never mentioned when you talk about the top players in the NHL. I don't understand how Jakub Voracek has gone under the radar for so long. I mean, he's been an absolute superstar at times with the Philadelphia Flyers. He's still putting up massive point totals in Philadelphia. And he's been fantastic his entire career. Sure, Philly has Claude Giroux, and Giroux's kind of been the guy in Philadelphia. So Voracek's kind of been in Giroux's shadow a little bit. But, I mean, people do not understand how good Jakub Voracek is and what a great playmaker he is. He only has 207 career goals. 488 career assists for Jakub Voracek. He is a tremendous playmaker from the wing position, and just absolutely incredible guy for a long time now in the NHL, for a decade now. He's been a very highly productive point producer in the NHL, whether he started in Columbus or after the trade to Philly. He really broke out with Philadelphia. I think he's just really, really underrated and a player that has never been given the full amount of recognition and respect for how good he has been. 695 career points for Jakub Voracek. I mean, he is going to be over 800 points by the end of his career easily. He might get close to 900. So, obviously, I think he should have gone number 3 overall, and he's a really underrated player. The 4th overall pick in 2007 belonged to the LA Kings, and with that pick, they took defenseman Thomas Hickey. Now, this pick did not really work out, particularly for a top 5 pick, as Hickey went on to play 499 games in the NHL, only scoring 22 goals and 93 assists for 115 points and a +35 rating. He was always kind of a depth defenseman, played most of his NHL games with the New York Islanders, and was always kind of that depth guy. He wasn't a huge part of it, and that certainly did not live up to being the first defenseman taken in this draft. Who should have been taken at 4 overall? Well, I'm sticking with a defenseman, and it is Ryan McDonagh, who was originally taken 12th overall by the Montreal Canadiens. McDonagh is absolutely the best defenseman to come out of this 2007 draft. 662 career games played, 63 goals, 236 career assists for 299 career points, and a +187. He obviously Never played with Montreal. He was traded as a prospect to the New York Rangers, became an elite level defenseman with the New York Rangers, and then was traded a couple years ago to the Tampa Bay Lightning, where he still plays now. He is a legitimate top pair defenseman, has been for most of his career. Incredibly good defensively. Offensively, he can chip in as well, but he's never been a huge point producer. But plus 187 in his career. Great shutdown D-man. Really, really good two-way player. And, yeah, huge mistake there, letting Ryan McDonagh drop to number 12 in this draft, because he, without a doubt, is the best defenseman taken in 2007 and should have absolutely gone in the top 5. The 5th overall pick belonged to the Washington Capitals in 2007, and with that pick, they took another defenseman that is not Ryan McDonagh. They took Karl Alzner. Now, Karl Alzner had some very, very good years with the Washington Capitals. Now, he signed as a free agent a few years ago with Montreal, and things have gone very downhill for Alzner since then. But he had some tremendous seasons with the Washington Capitals. He's played 686 career games, scoring 20 goals, 110 assists for 130 points and a plus 54 rating. Never a big offensive guy, never a big point producer, but very, very good as a defensive defenseman with Washington, and put a good career together. However, certainly not good enough to be a top 5 draft pick in this 2007 draft. The 5th overall pick should have been Logan Couture, center, who originally went 9th overall to the San Jose Sharks. He never should have been on the board at 9 overall. Couture is now the captain of the Sharks. He's played 715 career games, scoring 256 goals, 290 assists for 546 career points and a plus 51 rating. He's played his entire career with San Jose. He's been an absolutely outstanding center for them. Kind of rising through the ranks, starting out kind of as a third-line guy when he first broke into the league, and just moving up to now where he is, without a doubt, San Jose's best center and number 1 guy down the middle. He's still a tremendous player, and Logan Couture is one of my favorite guys on San Jose, without a doubt, and a really, really good player. He's had a great career. He's continuing to have a great career, and he should have gone at number 5 there to Washington. For sure. He definitely better pick there than Karl Alzner. Number 6 in 2007 belonged to the Edmonton Oilers, and with that pick, they took center Sam Gagner. Sam Gagner has gone on to have a pretty good NHL career, certainly, but not one worthy of being the 6th overall pick. He's played 844 career games, scoring 164 goals, 295 assists for 459 points and a minus 125 career rating. Obviously, he's been on a lot of bad teams over the years. Gagner's had a good career. He's almost to 500 career points. He's played over 800 career games. Not anything to be ashamed of, but not worthy of being 6 overall. Who should have gone at number 6 overall? Max Pacioretty, left wing, who originally went 22nd overall to the Montreal Canadiens. Pacioretty has become an elite NHL goal scorer, playing 763 career games, scoring 280 career goals, 274 career assists for 554 career points and a plus 41 rating. Obviously, he had some outstanding seasons with the Montreal Canadiens and now has been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights, where he is the top goal scorer on the Vegas Golden Knights. He's just continuing to put a fantastic career together. He's been a great goal scorer his entire time in the league, pretty much. And the career numbers speak for themselves. Over 550 career points, over 250 career goals. Just an outstanding player for a long time in this league. And he's, only 31 years old. So he's still got years of production ahead of him. Max Pacioretty is a guy that I really like a lot, and he should have gone there to Edmonton at 6 overall instead of Sam Gagner. The number 7 pick belonged to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we've already talked about this player. They took right wing Jakub Voracek, and we've gone through his career numbers and how great he has been and how underrated he is. But in this redraft, Jakub Voracek is not still on the board at number 7 because he went at number 3, or should have gone at number 3. So number 7 should have been PK Subban, defenseman who originally went in the second round, 43rd overall, to the Montreal Canadiens. Subban has gone on to have a tremendous career in the NHL. I think he now at this point is very overrated. I've talked about that a lot on this channel. However, there's no denying how good he was, particularly early in his career with the Montreal Canadiens. He's played 713 career games, scoring 105 goals, 321 assists for 426 career points, and a plus 29 rating. Obviously, this year was pretty much a disaster for Subban with New Jersey, as he only scored 18 points all season and was like a heavy minus, like minus 21 or something like that. But I think at this point, Subban's overrated and not the player that he used to be. However, that does not take away from the player that he used to be. He was a Norris Trophy level defenseman in Montreal and a really tremendous player. So he should have gone number 7 overall, and I think he's the second best defenseman to come out of this draft, other than obviously Ryan McDonough, who I have going 4th overall. Moving on now to pick number 8, and this one is painful as a Bruins fan because Boston had the 8th overall pick in 2007, and with that pick, they took a huge swing and a miss on forward Zach Hamill, who only went on to play 20 career games in the NHL, scoring no goals, 4 assists for 4 points and a plus 5 rating. I cannot tell you how much I cannot stand Zach Hamill. Absolutely horrible in the AHL, horrible in the NHL. Complete waste of a draft pick, and absolutely should not have been picked in the top 10. And Boston completely botched it. So who should have gone 8th overall to the Boston Bruins? Get this, right wing Wayne Simmonds, who originally went 61st overall to the Los Angeles Kings. Wayne Simmonds has gone on to become one of the best power forwards of this era in the NHL, playing 909 career games, scoring 251 goals, 248 assists for 499 career points and a minus 83 rating. He came up into the league with LA, had his glory years with the Philadelphia Flyers, where he was a 30-goal, 100 penalty minute type player. Would have fit in perfectly in Boston, would have been exactly the kind of guy that the Bruins would have liked. And if Boston had Wayne Simmonds, they probably never would have had Nathan Horton. Wayne Simmonds would have been the guy in that role, and Boston would have had a line in the early 2010s of Milan Lucic, David Krejci, and Wayne Simmonds. That would have been a killer top line for the Bruins. I mean, I can talk all day about how much I love Wayne Simmonds. He's had an incredibly good career. Very physical, very active, willing to fight and stick up for his teammates. Not afraid to hit, goes to the net, and then obviously used to bring a lot of offense to the table as well. Now, obviously, over the past couple seasons, his offensive output has significantly declined, as what usually does happen with power forwards once they get over the age of 30. You start to see the heavy decline in the offense, but man, imagine peak Wayne Simmonds, Philadelphia Flyers peak Wayne Simmonds in a Boston Bruins uniform. That would have been a hell of a lot better than having Zach Hamill, to say the least. So Simmonds should have gone at 8th overall there to Boston, and he's had one hell of an NHL career as a power forward, to say the least. Number 9 overall, that pick belonged to the San Jose Sharks, and they originally took center Logan Couture with that pick, and that was a great pick. We talked about his numbers, how good he is. He's the captain now. He's put together one heck of an NHL career. However, in this redraft, Logan Couture is off the board at number 9 because he goes 5th overall to Washington, where he should have gone. And that means that he cannot go 9th overall to San Jose. So who should San Jose have taken? They should have taken, at this point, James Van Riemsdyk, who originally went 2nd overall to Philadelphia. We've talked about the career that Van Riemsdyk's had, over 240 goals, almost 500 career points. He's been a really solid goal scorer for many years now in the league. I don't think he was worthy of being the 2nd overall pick, but a good spot for him to go, I think, certainly would have been number 9. Without a doubt, Van Riemsdyk would have been a solid selection there for the Sharks. And, maybe in this redraft, they're not able to get Logan Couture, but they certainly get a very good player in James Van Riemsdyk. So I think he should have gone at 9 there rather than at number 2. And that brings us to our last pick, number 10, which belonged to the Florida Panthers in 2007, where they took defenseman Keaton Ellerby. And this pick was absolutely a miss. Did not work out the way Florida wanted it to. He only played 212 career NHL games, scoring 4 goals and 23 assists for 27 points and a -13 rating. And obviously, Ellerby did not last that long at the NHL level. Definitely not worthy of being a top 10 pick. Not even really worthy of being a first-round pick. So who should have Florida taken at number 10 overall? Kevin Shattenkirk, defenseman who originally went 14th overall to the Colorado Avalanche. Shattenkirk has gone on to have a very, very good NHL career, particularly with the St. Louis Blues. He then, had some rough years with the New York Rangers, but had a nice bounce-back season this year with Tampa Bay. Overall, Shattenkirk has played 679 games in the NHL, scoring 83 goals, 300 career assists for 383 career points and a +10 rating. He's been a very, very good, middle pair defenseman in the NHL. Certainly would have been a much, much better pick than Keaton Ellerby. And Shattenkirk's a guy now that I think Florida, who's had a lot of defensive issues over the years, is a guy that the Panthers probably wish that they did have. And maybe, Shattenkirk coming off this 1-year deal with Tampa Bay is a free agent. I think Florida's a team that could potentially sign him this offseason as a free agent. It's funny now and kind of ironic looking back that Florida could have had him in the 2007 draft when he was drafted 10th overall instead of drafting Keaton Ellerby, who never worked out. But really interesting there that how things kind of come full circle. And but we'll have to see what happens with Shattenkirk this offseason. But he's put together a very nice NHL career, and at 31 years old, still should have some quality NHL seasons ahead of him as well. So there you have it, guys. That is my redraft of the top 10 picks from the 2007 NHL Draft. Obviously, there were a lot of great players taken in 2007. This was a very, very good draft, a very deep draft. And I mean, we're looking at James Van Riemsdyk and Kevin Shattenkirk being taken at 9th and 10th overall. And there were good players that I had to leave off of this list. Guys like Kyle Turris, guys like David Perron. I'm sure that there are others I'm not thinking of immediately coming to my head right now. But there were, Karl Alzner is another one. Good players who had very good or have had very good NHL careers, who I've had to leave off out of the top 10 just because of how good and how deep this draft was. So 2007 was a very, very good year. And obviously you could play with the order of how these guys should have been drafted a little bit. This is just my opinion. But they were, a lot of really good players. And I don't think you could go wrong with really any of these top 10 picks, how they turned out, redrafting it. So with that, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.